In my last video, series 57, we discussed what is meant by risk, the various types of risk the bank faces, and what is meant by the riskiness and the risk weight. We also understood that there is a need to maintain a minimum capital adequacy by every bank. The Basel Committee has prescribed the minimum capital adequacy as 8% of the risk-weighted assets, whereas the Reserve Bank of India, our central bank, had prescribed the same at 9% of the total risk-weighted assets. And by this video, series 58, let us start discussion on the Basel I norms. There was an incident which happened on 26th of June 1974, the failure of a German bank called Bankers Erstatt, which had its headquarters at Frankfurt in Germany, which has resulted in the birth of the Basel norms. On 26th June 1974, the Bankers Erstatt borrowed heavily from other European banks located in Germany in Deutschmark. The condition was that the correspondent bank of the Bankers Erstatt, which is located in New York, will make good for the amount borrowed in US dollars in New York. That means the Bankers Erstatt has promised to the European banks that their money, which is borrowed in Deutschmark, will be returned in US dollars on the same day by the correspondent bank of Bankers Erstatt, which are located in New York. But on that day, the German regulator, the Reserve Bank, which is controlling the banks in Germany, had suspended the license of the Bankers Erstatt. And the Bankers Erstatt stopped all operations. So the correspondent banks which are located in New York could not make payment or could not refund the money borrowed by Bankers Erstatt. This has resulted in a major crisis in the financial institutions located in Europe. So the G10 countries, total number of countries in G10 is, as you are aware, it is 13. They have met and they have formed a committee under the name BCBS, Basel Committee on Banking Supervision. It is located in Switzerland in a place called Basel. That is why they are known as Basel norms. So the Basel Committee, under the auspices of the Bank of International Settlement, the committee has come out with certain standards for the minimum capital adequacy for the banks. So the Basel I norms have come into effect the moment the G10 countries made it as a law to follow the Basel I norms. The Basel I norms consist only credit risk initially. Later on, they started with the market risk also in the Basel I itself. In the Basel I, the entire credit portfolio of the bank, they are divided into 4 assets. We call it as 4 asset buckets. They were, the number 1 was any exposure the bank is taking on the government. For example, an advance given by a bank is guaranteed by a central government or by a state government. So that is an exposure taken by the bank on the government. The second one is any exposure the bank is taking on other banks. For example, a bank is discounting a letter of credit or a bank is negotiating a letter of credit opened by another bank. The bank which negotiates or discounts the bill is actually taking an exposure on the other bank, because the LC opening bank assures that on the due date the LC opening bank will make payment. So any exposure one bank is taking on another bank, that is what exposure on banks. The third one is any loan which is backed by a mortgage, that is mortgage loans. And the fourth one is all others, that is anything which is not included under 1, 2, 3 come here. So the Basel I norms started with only credit risk. In the credit risk, the entire loan portfolio of the bank have to be divided into 4 categories. The first category being any exposure the bank is taking on the government. That means any loan which is guaranteed by either the central government or the state government. Second category is any exposure the bank is taking on other banks by way of negotiation of LC or giving a loan against the guarantee given by the other bank, etc., etc. The third one is any loan where there is a mortgage, backing of a mortgage. We know that when a land is mortgaged. The fourth one is any other loans which are not included under this category. And the Basel Committee has prescribed a risk weight of 0% here for the exposure which is taken on other banks at 20%, and any loan which is backed by a mortgage loan 50%, and all other categories 100%. Which means when these are the risk weights assigned, that means 0% means the Basel Committee number 1 does not foresee any threat on an exposure taken on government. Here the risk perception is 20%, here it is 50%, here it is 100%. Say for example, I have a bank which has given say 100 crore exposure backed by the government guarantee and a 200 crore exposure where the exposure is on other bank, and say 300 crore loans which are backed by mortgage, and say 400 crore loans coming under the other category. Now the risk-weighted asset will be first one 0% into 100, 0, that is a risk-weighted asset. The second one is 20% into 200, that is 40. And the third one is 50% into 300, that is 150. And 100% into 400, I have risk-weighted asset of 400. So my total risk-weighted asset comes to 550, 590. So the capital which I should have is total risk-weighted asset into 9% in India. That means divided by 100, 5.9 into 9. The bank should have minimum capital of 53.1 crore to take an exposure like this. That is a minimum capital adequacy that is required for A bank which has got this credit portfolio based on Basel 1. Now, if you look at this is based on our RBI prescription. Had that been based on the Basel Committee, it is 590 into 8 by 100 because it is 8%. So it will be 5.9 into 8. 47.2 crore internationally. But for Indian banks, it should be 53.1 crore. This is basically the Basel 1. So the Basel 1 norms are coming in based on the recommendation given by BCBS, which is established in 1974 after the debacle of the bankers' start. Initially, the G10 countries were the members of the BCBS. Now, most of the countries have covered, they have become the members of the Basel Committee on Banking Supervision, including India. And we are following the Basel norms. And it is, BCBS is formed under the auspices of BIS. Initially, when they started, they have started only with the credit risk. And subsequently, in the Basel 1 itself, credit market risk is also included. Then came the Basel 2. In the Basel 2, you have the credit risk, market risk. They also included the operational risk. And Basel 2 also, there are two versions. One is a Basel 2 standardized approach and Basel 2 IRB approach. And in the Basel 1 norms, the assets were divided into 4 asset buckets. One is the exposure on the government, which has got a risk weight of 0%. And the second one is exposure taken on other bank, which has got a risk weight of 20%. And any exposure which is backed by a mortgage, which has got a risk weight of 50%. And all others were brought under the category of 100% risk weight. Now you look at what was the need for modification from Basel 1 to Basel 2. If you look at, we have learned that there is a category called all others, which has got a 100% risk weight. Now, let us understand the deficiency of, what are the major deficiencies of the Basel 1 norms. Suppose there is a bank A, there is a bank B, and under others category, the total loan is say 6,000 crores. Assume that this bank, Bank A, has got AAA rated account 3,000 crore, and this bank is having 1,000. And this bank is having AA, say 2,000 crores, this bank is also having. And this bank is having single A 1,000 crore, but this bank is having 3,000 crore. So total here again 6,000 crore is the total loan of this bank, and total loan is 6,000 crore for this bank. But as far as the bank A is concerned, he has got major accounts under AAA rated, whereas this one is having major maximum amount of percentage of loan under A category. Now, when you look at the Basel norms, it doesn't give any weightage to these risk weights. That is, though this bank is managing the credit portfolio well, this bank does not have any incentive. He also has to keep 6,000 into 100% into 9% as capital. And this one also 6,000 into risk weighted as 100% into 9% as this one. So the bank which has got a better managed portfolio, it doesn't have any incentive. That is the reason why there was a need to modify the Basel 1 and then come out with the Basel 2 norms. Now let us look at the history of Basel 1, Basel 2 and Basel 3 before we go into the Basel 3 norms. See, as I told you, the Bank of International Settlement was established in 1974. Similarly, the Basel Committee on Banking Supervision was established in 1974. Now, the Basel Committee, Basel 1, with only credit risk came in 1988. Now the same Basel I introduced market risk also in 1996. Now the Basel II with inclusion of operational risk came in 1999. Now the Basel III with all the three came in 2010. Now if you look at the failure of the Bankers Act was in 1974, and the Bank for International Settlement was established by the G10 countries in 1974, and the BIS under the auspices of the BIS, the Basel Committee on Banking Supervision was established in 1974, which has come out with the Basel norms, and the Basel I, only the credit risk came in 1988. Then the Basel I itself, they have introduced what is called as a market risk, that is any investment related risk, which we have seen, because the bank is doing not only lending but also the investment. That was in 1996. Then came the Basel II. They have introduced operational risk also, because there is a credit risk, then market risk, then this. Here, credit risk plus market risk. Okay. Now, all the three put together, credit risk plus market risk plus operational risk, came in 1991, 99, and Basel III came in 2010. Of course, I am not going into there was a delay in implementation of all these Basel norms in India. Let us not get into that. Now, basically, I will tell you what exactly are the differences between the Basel I and Basel II. Now, going to Basel II, let us have a start with that. These Basel II norms is based on three pillars. That is, it is structured based on three pillars. The first pillar is minimum capital requirement. Second one is supervisory review process. The third one is market discipline. That is the Basel II norms, which was introduced as a modification to the Basel I, with an introduction of the additional operational risk also, is structured on three things. One is minimum capital requirement, supervisory review process, market discipline. I am not going to get into the deep inside this one. To make you understand in a simple language, I shall explain what are these things. Minimum capital requirement talks about, one, every bank should have a minimum capital requirement based on the risk-weighted assets. What should be that? It is prescribed here. And it also prescribes what is meant by capital fund of a bank. Because the capital fund of a bank is again divided into Tier 1 capital and Tier 2 capital. And the Tier 1 capital has got a better loss absorbing capacity compared to that of the Tier 2 capital. We will go into the Tier 1 and Tier 2 capital later. So this talks about the minimum capital adequacy vis-a-vis the risk weight, and what are the components which go into the capital fund, of which what are all classified as Tier 1 and Tier 2. That is what it is. The second one is supervisory review process. That is, any time if the bank is found to be having a deficiency in the minimum capital adequacy, the central bank has got a right to interfere. That is what it is, and impose penalties. It also talks about what is called ICAP. ICAP means internal capital adequacy assessment process. ICAP means internal capital adequacy assessment process. It talks about every bank should have an internal capital adequacy assessment process, and it should happen at regular intervals. That means every bank should have a structure in themselves to assess the capital adequacy available vis-a-vis its exposure. That is what is supervisory review process. Two things: The central bank has got every right to interfere at any point of time whenever they find there is a problem in maintaining the minimum capital adequacy and impose penalties. Second one is every bank should have normally available capital adequacy assessment process. That is internal capital adequacy assessment process. It should be there. And the third one is a market discipline. Because normally if you look at bank being a listed company, every bank furnishes its financial statements. Mainly consist of the balance sheet and the profit and loss account. Being a listed company, as per the SEBI's requirement, every quarter, every bank publishes its financial statement. That is the balance sheet, its financial position as on a particular date, and also the profit and loss account statement covering the particular period. The market discipline says that alone is not adequate. In addition to this, you also have to publish what is your capital structure, what is the risk management process you have, what is the exposure to various type of industries and customers, what are the components of your capital, etc. And this should be published separately as Basel exposure norms. And every bank, if you look at, they are every quarter publishing along with this the market discipline data, that is the capital structure, what is the risk management policy they have, what is the risk management structure they have, what are their exposure, how much is the tier 1 capital, how much is the tier 2 capital. These informations are made available to the public. That is what is market discipline. Enhance the information provided to the stakeholders. So the Basel II is structured on 3 pillars. One is the minimum capital requirement. Number 2, supervisory review process. Third one, the market discipline. This is how it is structured on 2. Now basically let us understand the basic difference between Basel 1 and Basel 2 by this video before we go to the other aspects in the next video. See the Basel 1, Basel 2. Here there were only 4 asset buckets. They were, as I told you, that exposure on the government, exposure on other banks, exposure backed by some mortgage, and the last one, all others. But here, the number of asset buckets were increased to 13. That is the first thing. 13 asset buckets. That is 4 have become 13. We will go into those details which are on the asset buckets later. Now the 13 asset buckets, now they have included operational risk. Also added. It was not there. The Basel 1 was there, only credit risk it started with, and they have added the market risk later on. But now, when it came to the Basel 2, the operational risk is added. I tell you the reason why the Basel operational risk was added. There was a person by name Leeser. One person has pulled down a bank, Barings Bank in Singapore. A fraud committed by an individual who was looking after the marketing portfolio of that particular bank. Such a big bank, a Barings Bank Limited, had been pulled down. It has to close its doors, mainly because of the fraud committed by the Nixon Leesons. Nick Leeson, his name is. So because of that, this operation risk, because we know that it's a failure of system, failure of the people, and it could be natural disasters. So the operational risk was being included there. Now, in Basel II, all corporate loans has to be rated by ICAIs or IRAs. First of all, let us understand in corporate loan, as per Basel law, any exposure which is up to 5 crore is classified as a retail loan in Basel, which includes fund-based plus a non-fund-based limit. Any credit exposure, if the amount is more than 5 crore, that is fund-based plus non-fund-based limit, it is classified as a corporate loan. So any corporate loan has to go to ICAIs. ICAIs means external credit assessment institutions like Securzil, ICRA, Moody's, etc., etc. They have to go and get rated as a double A, triple A, third, whatever may be the rating that is given. Based on that rating, the risk weight is assigned. And ICA is approved by our Reserve Bank of India, naturally. It is not that you can go to any rating agencies. There are certain conditions and stipulations based on which to how many rating agencies you can go, like that. There are certain things. So they are known as external credit assessment institutions. So the credit rating is done by the external agencies which are approved by the Reserve Bank of India, get rated and come to the bank, provide the rating based on which the risk weight will be assigned. So for example, I am giving you this one. A AAA rated account may be having a risk weight of 20%. Suppose it is a AA, it may be 30%. Suppose it is a single A, it may be 50%. Are you getting me? So it is for them to get rated from the external credit assessment institutions. And the second one is it can also get rated by the IRAs. IRAs means international rating agencies. Suppose any exposure which is labeled in foreign currency, that is either in US dollars or British pounds or Australian dollars or Singapore dollars or euro or British pounds, whatever it may be, if an exposure is labeled in foreign currency, they have to get rated by the international rating agency. For example, Moody's International, or it could be any, any rating agencies which is approved by RBI. They have to go and get rated. So corporate loans have to be get rated by this one. And they have introduced, as I told you, risk weights for corporate loans. Risk weights were introduced for corporate loans. And the next one is, they have brought in a concept called, there are some concepts. One is asset netting. Second one is haircut. Third one is capital for unutilized limits. These are some of the concepts which are brought in, which we will understand later in the next video. So far what we have understood is in Basel I has come in because of the failure of one German bank called Bankers Erstadt, and it availed a big loan, heavy loan from European banks in Division Mark with the condition that the money will be paid in US dollars in New York, but has not happened. Before it could happen, the bank failed. So G10 countries formed what is called the Banking International Settlement, which has formed the committee called BCBS, Basel Committee on Banking Supervision, in 1974. And the minimum capital adequacy, that is what the concept is, to absorb the losses and to remain solvent. So the Basel I failed because there were only 4 asset buckets, and one of the buckets shows all others grouped into 100. This one, so the bank which is having a better credit portfolio, it didn't have any incentive. It also had to maintain the same capital, which is that of a not so well managed bank, credit managed bank. Then the Basel II came. In Basel I itself, the credit risk started, and afterwards they have introduced the market risk. Then they found that there is a need to include the operational risk also because of the failure of the bank, Barings Bank, which was pulled down on account of a fraud committed by one employee. So naturally, they have included the operational risk also. The Basel II came. The Basel II, the number of asset buckets have been increased from 4 to 13. And the corporate loans were defined, and the corporate loans were asked to go to the different ICAIs and IRAs to get rated. And the various risk weights were proposed. Then they have introduced certain concepts called asset netting, haircut, and capital for unutilized limits. And I think you have understood. If you have liked this, subscribe to this. And this video will also help those who are appearing for JAB and CAB. So for example, the JAB syllabus, when I was going through, I found that there is a module on Basel I, Basel II, Basel III in the JAB exam. So please, this will also help them also. So please subscribe to this channel and press the like button. In the next video, that is the video number 59, we will go into the concepts of Basel 2, that is asset netting, haircut, and capital for unutilized limits. And then move on to the approaches. There are various approaches, and go to the Basel 3. Thank you very much. In case you have liked it, press the